Today I'll be mounting a TV for a small conference room. What I've got is a 55-inch TV, and I have got an adjustable wall mount bracket. It's going to go on this wall. So I'm going to mount the TV so it's sitting at an angle so that the users in the conference room can all see it. I'm going to get the TV unboxed and the mount unboxed and get an idea of where the center is on the TV and how far the center is from the bottom. Usually it's about in the middle, but sometimes TVs are different. And that'll give me an idea of where on the wall I'm going to install my mount. So on this TV, these screws right here are our mounting points for the bracket. So we're going to pull these screws out. This is the mounting bar. The screw on this end right here, this is for the bottom. So once it's mounted on the wall in the bracket, this will be used underneath to tighten it up. And you can also tell that this is the top because the bracket this will hang on the bracket. And you can tell that by the way these cuts are in here. So since these screws are not in the center, they're pretty low, we're going to figure out how far up to put our bracket. I'm going to guess right about there should be fine. We won't be able to see the bracket from underneath. The mount will be up here, so it'll be hidden, so that's good. Let's go ahead and measure from the top of where the bracket on the wall is going to be. And it's going to be, let me grab the other bracket here to show you. We're going to measure to the top right here. This is where the bracket's going to rest. So we'll measure from there down to the bottom of the TV. So we've got about 12.5 inches. So the top of the bracket here is about 3/4 of an inch lower than our mounting holes. So when we put our bracket up to the wall, actually we're going to use the template here. This is the template that shows where the screws can be mounted. When we put this up to the wall, we're going to measure 12.5 plus 3/4 of an inch, so 13 1/4 of an inch from where we want the bottom of the TV up to where we have to put our holes for the bracket. All right, let me go ahead and get a measure of our TV height. We're at just about 29 inches. And the width is about 4 feet. So 29 inches by 4 feet. Okay, this is going to be a conference room, so people will be sitting head level about right here. I don't want the TV too low, but I don't want everybody to have to look super high to see the TV. So we'll go ahead and put the center of it about right here. Let's see how high that is. We'll go with 56 inches to center. So half of that, actually, let me mark that. 56, about right there. Doesn't have to be exact for comfort. So our TV is 29 inches, so half of that is 14.5. So we will drop down from here 14.5 to the bottom, and then up to the top of our bracket is 13 1/4. So we're actually going to, the difference between 14.5 and 13 1/4 is 1.5 inches, we'll say. So we're just going to drop this down 1.5 inches. Probably pretty confusing the way I said that, but basically basically our goal is to know how high to mount the top of our bracket, or how high to put our mounting screws. So once I get my width side to side of where I want this, I'll put my bracket up here and I'll mount it at this line that we made, which will put our bracket top where the top of our brackets on our TV are. So it'll sit where we want it. Confusing, but it's not too difficult. So our TV is 48 inches, and this space right here is just over 50. So we can actually mount the TV to where it fits straight in here, and then it'll still have the ability to come out. And now the brackets have adjustment on them too. So if for some reason somebody wants it scooted over or at a different angle, we'll be able to do that with putting our bracket where we have it here right in the middle. So it won't be a problem no matter really where we put it, as long as it's the right height. We'll have plenty of play right and left to get it where it's comfortable for everybody. All right, so we've got about 50 inches here, so I'm going to come off of this edge and go to 25, which would be in the center of the wall, or center enough. 25, it's right there. It should be right there. All right, so there's our center from side to side. We've got our height from the floor to right there. Next step is to figure out where the studs are, because we do want to mount this into the studs. So I'm going to have my stud finder, and I will go each way from center to find where the studs are. Typically we need 2 of them, one on each side. So sometimes the brackets are big, we can get 3 sets of bolts in there, but that's overkill. So what we're going to do is going to find 2 studs within the range of our bracket to install our mount. There's one. Try that again. All right, we want to get right in the center of the stud too. It's easy to hit the edge of it, but it's not very secure for your bolt, especially if it's coming out the side and barely hanging on. So I always try to get right in the middle. Actually, I should have moved that one over right there. Best to use a pencil. You can always erase. A pen, yeah, it won't come off, but if you put it in the wrong spot and it's not covered, then you got to repaint. So we're using the pencil here. All right, and that one's good. So these are our 2 marks. There should be plenty for that bracket. We'll go ahead and get the template up here and see how that lines up. All right, so the slots in the template are where we would have the slots on our bracket. So they should line up to these holes right here. These are where we're going to bolt. We'll have a couple on one side and a couple on the other side. All right, so with our template in the middle, which would be right about here, we're going to miss this stud over here. So I'm actually going to scoot this over to where I can grab this stud, and I can grab this stud on this one, and then we'll use the adjustments on the bracket to get the TV farther away from the wall and centered. Use the level on the template because I want my bracket to be straight. The bracket has a level on it, but I'm going to pre-drill some holes in here, so I want it as level as possible. So we've got, do one here. There's the top of our bracket right there. Okay. And this side needs to come up just a touch. A little lower. So the height on this isn't super important. It's fairly important, but what's most important is the level. All right, and that looks good. And so what I'm going to do is mark right in the center here where the stud is at. And let's see, where's the stud? The stud on this one is right here. And then, let's see, about just over a ½ inch in, right there should be the center. I'm gonna make it dark enough so I can see it. And about the same here. All right. So now we've got hard to see, but not impossible to see, anchor points. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab a pilot drill bit and drill into these so I can get them ready for the bolts. One thing that's good about drilling pilot holes is the stud's not going to split for one thing, and you can get a feel for how solid your hole is by drilling into it. If you're on the edge of the wood, it'll go in pretty easy and you'll know you have to readjust for it. So we'll go ahead and get that going, get some pilot holes drilled. So this mount comes with mounting screws and screws for the TV. So I'm going to go ahead and use the screws that came with it. I usually use bigger lag screws than this, but it's probably always overkill, and these will have a better chance of not splitting the stud. Should be plenty for holding the TV. TVs are a lot lighter nowadays than they used to be. This is the pilot bit I chose, and I'm getting a bit that's a little skinnier than the lag. I don't want it as big as this for sure, and I want it actually skinnier than the center part, the solid part, so that there is some tension when the screw goes in. So this is what I'm going to use for this job. All right, let's get these drilled in. So I have an adapter here that will allow me to use my drill on these guys, and that's pretty helpful. It's a lot easier than using a socket, even though you can, and it's not a huge deal, but it's a lot faster with my drill, so I'm going to use that. So just to get it started off, to make it easier when I'm holding up the mount, it's not the lightest mount, I'm going to go ahead and get the lag screw started in both of these and then pull out, so when I put the mount up, they'll go in easily. Good for a start. Each lag screw has a little washer that goes on it. I'm going to make sure I use those to hold it on the bracket easier. Okay, so here is our bracket. It has a level on it that'll help us get it perfectly level once we get it installed, and an arrow here that shows this way is up. So we'll go ahead and make sure we mount it correctly. Oh, come on. We'll just scoot it over to the edge because we need more length this way. All right, that one's tight. And We need to loosen it and lift this side up a little bit. That's better. There's two, we got two more. And one more. All right. It is not going anywhere. All right, here's our bracket, nice and level. There is some play in it, so I imagine there's a way to tweak it and tighten the bolts on the back. But as long as we can get it level, we should be fine. We'll play with it later if we need to. So on the TV, we need to get these screws out of here. So with all the TV brackets I've ever installed, TV mounts, they come with a supply of different screws. Depending on the TV, they take a different screw. And it looks like this set right here ought to be the right one. So we'll check it out, make sure that it is threaded correctly and long enough. Yeah, that's the right one. So these are the ones that we're going to use. Head's just a little bit bigger, but it looks like we also have what would be washers. Looks like they're set for a couple different bolt sizes. And there's 4 of them, so one for each screw here. So we wanted this at about right there. I'm going to use the big size. Wrong screw. Make sure it's as far this way as it can go, so they're the same on each side. Okay, now the other side. Okay, so this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes up. Make sure we're the same on this other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. Screw in it. We want to start off slow if we're using a power tool so we don't cross thread it. That's done. Put these. Alright, we're going to go ahead and back these out quite a ways. I don't want them interfering with me mounting the TV when I'm holding it up in the air. So that's about it. About to the bottom. That should give us room to get the TV up there. So the way the TV mounts, the top, it comes in at an angle, the top hooks into the bracket and the bottom swings down. So as long as I can get it up there, I've done a ton of these by myself, and I'll hold them to where I can feel the top of the bracket here. I'll hold the TV at an angle and I'll slide it down until it drops into this. So that's what we're gonna do. Feels about right. All right. So there we go. We've got our brackets have dropped down onto this guy. So that's exactly where it needs to be. And we've got tons of space on each side. We can slide the TV either way. It looks like we have probably about 10 inches of space that we can go either way on here. All right, now that we have our TV up, we're going to go ahead and put these screws up. We can snug them down if we don't want it to slide anywhere, but I just basically don't want the TV falling off. So this will prevent the TV from being pulled forward, and it won't come off that way. And also, on this edge there's a lip, so if somebody was to slide it, it would hit that and it wouldn't fall off. So as long as these screws are up and they hit this and they're behind that bar, the TV will not fall off the bracket. Get this one over here. So here's our TV. We can go ahead and take the protective stuff off of it, so this plastic and cardboard. If you're mounting a TV with a bracket that doesn't come out, it's just flush to the wall, you'll probably want to take this all off before you mount the TV. But this kind of mount, it's easy because I have all kinds of play. I can move it wherever I want and get access to anything, power cords, video connections, whatever. So I like to leave the protective stuff on until I'm done installing the TV if possible. That about does it. Looking a little crooked, not a big deal. We'll have to tighten up the nuts on the back here because that's what's letting it tilt. So on the back side here we've got 4 nuts, 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, and you can see that this is where the play is coming from for the tilt, the right and left tilt. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put a level on this piece, and I'm going to get this to the level point and get these tightened up. All right, so let's see where level is here. It shows it at about right there. Looks crooked from here, but we'll get it level and then we'll check the front. Not the most convenient access here. So we'll check the level out here and Make sure we're good overall. This side needs to go up just a little bit. Just having the two nuts tightened on the one side allows me to force it up, out on the front. So that's about right. Not perfect, but it's pretty good. The bubble is within the lines, so we're going to go with that. I'm going to go on the back side and tighten up the other two nuts. We also have the tilt back here, which is adjusted by loosening these knobs, tilting to where we want the TV. We're going to have it level, so I think that's about good. Let me grab my level. All right. Let's see what we have here. All right, that's good. All right, now that we're level, I've got my knobs tightened, but I want to cinch these up a little bit too because I don't want people messing with it too much. I'm gonna need one on the other side. Usually when I do a TV install, wall mount install, I will extend the power outlet from the standard location down by the floor up here around somewhere hidden by the TV, which makes it convenient to plug it in. On this job, the power is not my responsibility. We have electricians for that, so we'll have them relocate that if they want it moved. For now, I'm just going to run the cord down to the plug. All right, so here's our TV install. This is what it'll look like if it's right up to the wall. This bracket has tons of adjustment on it, so several positions we can have this TV in, whatever's convenient to whoever's using it at the time. We can set it in the corner. We can even bring it out quite a bit if we wanted to. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and put it straight back to the wall, and then whoever needs to use it can adjust it as needed. So that's it for the basic wall mount TV installation. Pretty easy to do. TVs these days are pretty light, so you can typically do a TV install by yourself, but it is helpful to have extra hands or eyes, especially when you're mounting the TV on the mount itself. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you found this video useful, and I'll see you on the next one.